Hi everyone, today we're going to be talking about 5 sewing trends we love and 5 sewing trends we're ready to leave behind. My name is Cassie and I just wanted to tell you quickly before we get into it that all of these things are just my own opinion. So if this is something that you love, that I'm saying I don't love, that's totally cool. This is just all for fun. These are just things that I've seen online that I'm ready to not see anymore, or things that I'm like, give me more, I want to make them myself. So without waiting any further, we're just going to jump right into it, starting with things that I love that are sewing trends. And the first one is sheared dresses. Now this isn't necessarily a trend in so that like it's a brand new thing that's propped up, but I will say I feel like it is especially popular right now. I've been seeing so many really beautiful sheared dresses. And one thing that I'm really liking about the sheared dresses that I'm seeing is that we're kind of playing with proportions a little bit. We're doing something like really fitted through the bodice, sort of like a higher neck almost, and then like a fuller skirt. I'm really liking playing with bows, playing with big skirts, playing with different silhouettes. I think that the shearing allows for a lot of fun. And I also really love how we're seeing it with a lot of patterns as well. So you might typically have seen sheared dresses with just like a plain fabric, like a solid color. And now we're seeing a lot of checks, a lot of plaid, a lot of gingham. And I think that that looks really cute. I think it's really girly and feminine, but it also can add like a bit of like a tougher vibe as well sometimes, depending on how you do it. There's a few dresses that I've been really loving. This one by Robert Wood Sews, I think is super pretty. It's got these big bows on the back that I think add to that like feminine vibe that I was saying. But at the same time, if you did this in like a black fabric, it would look really edgy and really cool. So this is one that I definitely have my eye on. I think a few of us in the office actually want to make this. And I believe we actually did talk about this in our spring sewing plans video. So I'll link that in the cards for you if you want to check it out. All right, the next one is gingham for everything. Now you might not be able to tell, but I am wearing some gingham pants right now, and we got some gingham in at Core Fabrics that I am absolutely obsessed with, and I think a few of us at the office have already purchased this fabric and made something in it. It's just a really fun for spring and summer. It's one of those fabrics that never really goes out of style. It kind of like keeps coming back, but just when I think that it's going to be done for the season, like this is it, this is the last summer, it comes back again. And so it's not necessarily, again, like a new trend, but I do think it's one that kind of reoccurs every spring and summer. I'm expecting to get tired of it, but I never am. I'm like always in love with it. I think especially we're sort of seeing a lot of it in like matching sets. I definitely bought enough of this fabric to make a matching set because I had this exactly in mind. So I think gingham is here to stay. And I think that also plays into like checks as well. I think the checkerboard is a little bit passe and that is like not as popular. It had more of a moment, but gingham is definitely like going quite strong still. Okay, the third one I think is controversial. And I say controversial in that I feel like you either love them or you hate them, and I sort of fall somewhere in the middle. So I do really like that we're seeing a lot of pattern companies coming out with these really interesting jeans that have these really interesting shapes. So we're seeing trousers with exaggerated barrel shaped legs, or we're seeing trousers with a sort of less exaggerated, a bit more of like an understated shape, but still playing into that barrel leg. Now, I believe this came from Rag & Bone or maybe one other designer, but I'll list everything in the description box. But there are these pair of jeans that are almost like, people are calling them like horseshoe jeans, and they have these really exaggerated sort of barrel shaped legs. And we've seen a few pattern companies come out with a similar sort of design, and people are either really loving them and like really leaning into them, especially in structured fabrics to give like that really exaggerated shape, or people are thinking that they're super ugly and they don't love them. Personally, what I like is the more like in-between version. Like I really like the Daughter Judy Co trousers that have a really like soft barrel leg shape. I also think the sepia pants that we came out with for crew last year have like a really like soft and really nice barrel shape as well. And the shop pant by Open Studio Patterns is another sort of softer shaped barrel leg. These are patterns that came out maybe before the trend hit its like highest peak, and now we're seeing a lot more of like the exaggerated shape, as I mentioned. But I do think they are really cool, and what I do like about them is that it's interesting. You know, you see it's a different silhouette than what we've seen in a lot of other patterns, pants patterns that have come out. And so I think it's fun, and that's why I put this on my love list, because I think it's really interesting to see these different patterns come out and see different techniques and see how different designers, how different pattern designers are taking the same inspiration and interpreting it in different ways, and also different construction techniques to achieve that shape. So that's what I think is really cool about it. That's why it's on my love list, but it is definitely, like I said, a bit of a more controversial sort of opinion. I think are either, like I said, you love it or you hate it. The next one on my love list is tiered or gathered skirts. It's that sort of very like flowy, usually like high waist, but I'm seeing a lot of girls wear them like quite low waisted. It's not quite for me, but I think it looks great. It's very bohemian, sort of like 70s. Usually you see them in a lot of like white fabrics. Again, you see them in gingham. I think a lot of this kind of skirts that I'm seeing are a bit more fitted through the top and then have a more full sort of like gathered skirt along the bottom. I think these are really pretty. I am definitely not tired of them, and what I like about them is that it's really easy to self-draft, and I think that's why they are gaining popularity. You see a lot of tutorials on TikTok or on YouTube Shorts or on Reels where people are showing you how to make these gathered skirts, and they really are quite simple because they are made out of rectangles, 2 or 3 rectangles and some elastic. Some gathering. It's a really simple beginner-friendly project, and I think that's really cool that you can have this sort of piece that is easy to show others, and I think that's why they're having a little bit extra popularity right now, is because it's sort of easy viral content to create, but also makes for a really lovely skirt that is on trend. So this is definitely something that I think is a love for me. I actually have one at home that I'm working on. I just need to hem it and put in the elastic and it's good to go, but it is really fun and quick and easy to sew, and like I said, it's just a bunch of rectangles. Doesn't get much more simple than that. Last on my love list are the boxer short trends I'm seeing everywhere. Again, I think this is another sort of viral sort of TikTok, Instagram, YouTube Shorts moment that's happening, because it's also something that is quite easy to explain to beginners how to sew. So I'm seeing a lot of tutorials on, you know, taking your boyfriend's boxers and turning them into like drafting, using a pattern, using that to create a pattern for your own, or how do you copy your pajama pants to make them into a pair of boxer shorts. I know there's also a free pattern, I believe, that Peppermint magazine has. I think it's free or pay what you can. And again, it's like a really simple pattern. It's great for the summer, and they're just like a really nice, light, easy to wear and quick to sew item. I think the quick to sew is key as well, because it is a trend. So you're seeing a lot of people sew these up really quickly, sew 1 or 2. And while that might be a turnoff for some and could be a turnoff for me, I do honestly just like the ease of making something quickly, and especially wearing it for the summer. Summer's really short where we are, so having a nice, like, quick, fun, easy project to sew is really nice, and I always look for those sorts of things to add to my sewing list. Now we have my list of sewing trends I'm ready to leave in the past, starting with quilt coats. What I'm not really loving is seeing all of these beautiful quilts being cut up. I think, you know, there's a time and a place for it. Sometimes the quilts are, you know, on their last legs and they're being upcycled, but I don't think that there is much more of like a market for all of these quilted coats, especially if it's a trend. I'm hoping that they stay in people's closets and we continue to wear them, and if they do, then I'm like all for it, like let's go for it. But at the same time, I do think that if you are going to make a quilted coat, I would love to see you make your own quilted coat, like make your own quilted fabric, piece it together. I think that's a really cool project. It's one that I've been wanting to do personally. So that's one I'm ready to leave. Like, let's leave the quilts in the thrift stores for people's beds or their couches or whatever. And if you wanted to have a quilted coat, maybe try making your own quilt and making your own coat out of it. I think that could be really cool. Could be a fun project. Use up a bunch of scraps. Win-win. the next trend that I'm ready to leave behind are the tie front tops that you're seeing everywhere. I've seen these a lot because Gingham, the brand, came out with their own tie front top, and since then there has been a whole world of dupes going around. And I think that these are really pretty, and I've debated on making them myself, but I have also seen so many people wear them. They've become quite ubiquitous that I think for me, I'm like, you know what, I'll let them ride their moment and do their thing, but I don't think I'm gonna jump on the trend at this moment. It just feels like in my feed on Instagram and on TikTok, all I see are these tie front tops or tutorials for tie front tops. And so while I don't actually see them as much in person, I just think the internet fatigue of seeing these tops and these dresses everywhere has made me sort of step back and be like, you know what, I'll let the cool girls do this trend and I will sit this one out. Okay, the next one, we've had a bit of a laugh about this in the office, but the next one that I'm ready to leave behind are cargo pants or cargo pockets. I think that they're really cool. I mean, I used to wear cargo pants when I was, in the 90s as a kid, and I think that's what a lot of us here are reacting to, is this sort of full circle coming back of the cargo pants and the cargo pockets, because we are seeing them in truly massive proportions sometimes, at least in ready to wear. I think in the sewing world, it's a little bit more relaxed. You're not having quite these massive pockets on pockets that you're seeing in ready to wear, but at the same time, I do sort of feel it's not something that is for me. I already did the whole cargo pants thing once before. I'm not really ready to go there again. I think they look really cool on a lot of people, but I'm gonna stick with my usual pants and jeans and know that will safely stay in style for me for a long time to come. Oh, I put cargo pants on here twice. Clearly some strong feelings about cargo pants. The last one that I am ready to leave behind are vests or waistcoats, essentially the third part of a three-piece suit that a lot of people are wearing just as tops. I truthfully don't get it. This is one that is a little bit beyond me. I think they look really cute on people, but I'm what is it? Is it a top? Is it a layering piece? I don't really know. I think that they're really beautiful because a lot of them are following a lot of tailoring techniques, because it is a tailored piece. It is meant to be sort of traditionally in a three-piece suit, which is a tailored, tailored set. But I don't know, the vest on its own is something that they look really cool on so many people that I know for me, I think I would just feel like Frog and Toad or something. It wouldn't be a good look. So that's what I'm leaving behind. I'm not going to even touch that one. Let the cool girls go for it, but it's not quite for me. So that's everything on my love and leave list for sewing trends. Let me know in the comments, what are you loving? What are you leaving? Do you agree with me? Are we gonna fight it out in the comments? No fighting, please. Let's all be nice. But let me know what you think. I'd love to hear. This is a fun topic to sort of debate about in the comments in a nice way. So I'll leave you guys to it, and I'll see you in the comments. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you next time. Bye.